Question number 95 of the ID Passport exam from PhilNITS. We are now in the strategy portion of the exam. In this question, we are being asked, when a guest arrives at a certain restaurant, their name is registered in a visitor list. When the guest is allocated a seat, both the guest list and seating availability are referenced. Which of the following is the most appropriate DFD to represent this series of actions? Okay, this question I think is a little bit difficult to answer quickly. I think actually even if you put in more time to understand what's going on here, what's happening here, it's unlikely that you'll be able to quickly arrive with the correct answer. So for these types of questions, I'd recommend that we skip it and move on to another easier question, because you might be spending a lot of your time on something that in the end you'll likely not get the point anyway. So I'd recommend that you move on and answer the easier ones first, and then after you've done that, you go back to the other questions that you've also maybe skipped, and then see if you can figure out how to find the answer for those questions. In any case, if we are to answer this question right now, what we would see would be the parts that, according to the description, there's a guest coming in and we have a visitors list. Okay, and then we need to allocate a seat for the guest, and we need to reference the guest list and the seating availability. Okay, so if we are going to reference, I think that's the key part here that we would I think need to use to find the answer, and that means that we are referencing guest list and seating availability. So um, we just, I guess, have to find whichever choice would have that referencing referencing correctly symbolized in the diagram. So if we have guest list, seating availability, reception is pointing to the guest list and seating availability. But I think what we need is to allocate a seat. So I think we need to have some way to connect seating availability and the guest list with the show to seat. So I put an X mark on letter C because we're connecting seating availability and guest list with the reception. For letter A, show to seat is connecting to seating availability, but the guest list is not directly connected to it, so we put an X mark here. Letter B, we have a show to seat here and then guest list connected to it, but seating availability again is not directly connected to it. What we have would be letter D, which says that to show the seat, we connect guest list to the seating availability. And therefore, D would be the correct answer. And that's what the answers list is going to tell us if we look at it to find out what the correct answer would be. But again, I think if we do it in the manner that I just did, explaining somewhat what's going on here and attempting to find the referenced um, objects and what is referencing them, then it seems like we can arrive with this answer. But the way I answered it before this, just a while ago, was to see how the flow how the flow worked. So we got the guest coming in at the reception, and then we need to see if the name is, let me see, when a guest arrives at a certain restaurant, their name is registered in a visitors list. Um, there's no visitors list here, but there's a guest list. So it looks like from the reception, he has to go to the guest list. But this part is where it seems a little bit confusing, because the guest list goes to the show to seat, and then seating availability goes to show to seat too. So in that way, I think um, it's really difficult to understand. Let me see what my notes are saying. Actually, these are notes from about half a year ago. I think I wasn't able to answer this question as well. So DFD stands for Data Flow Diagrams, by the way, from our Sanko reference, google.com and pmi.org, the Project Management Institute.org. And then it seems like what I put here is that the arrow, if it's pointing from seating availability to show to seat, that means it's referencing um, the other way. So show to seat is referencing seating availability. That seems to be the pattern here. So guest list is referencing the reception. Um, and I think somehow that kind of explains why we got letter D in the end. But again, just like what I said at the beginning, this is a little bit difficult to answer, and even if we put in more time to answering it, we might not arrive with the correct answer anyway. So um, I I really recommend that we move on and do another question, and see which ones would be easier to answer, and then get as many points as we can that way. Okay, all right.